From exciting new opportunities to harsh lifetime bans, LIV Golf's been dealt a devastating legal blow. And here's what we know. In 2019, the PGA Tour was forced to make some hard decisions. When a group of investors made an announcement, the PGA Tour was going to have a rival. It was first announced as the Premier Golf League. The PGL? That's not exactly original, but it didn't really matter. It was going to be a legitimate competitor to the PGA. They would offer legitimate money to legitimate top-of-the-world class golfers. And that was enough to make the PGA take notice. PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan responded, saying that golfers who chose to play in the new league would face bans from PGA Tour events. And the battle had begun. The PGL talked with Saudi investors about financing the league. But Gulf Saudi, a division of the Public Investment Fund, the sovereign wealth fund of Saudi Arabia, decided to fund its own entity in 2020. It was nicknamed the Super Golf League before the official launch in October of 2021, when it was renamed LIV Golf. The name LIV is a reference to the Roman numeral for 54, representing what a player's score would be if they birdied every hole on the course. Clever, I suppose. It's certainly better than Premier Golf League. The LIV Golf team managed to hire PGA Tour legend Greg Norman as their CEO, and their first event was held at Centurion Club outside London, England, on the 9th of June 2022. LIV succeeded in attracting the star power they needed, and the field featured many major championship winners and former world #1 ranked players, including Dustin Johnson, Sergio Garcia, Martin Kaymer, Graham McDowell, Louis Oosthuizen, Charles Schwartzel, and Lee Westwood. Before the second LIV event held in Portland, Oregon, LIV Golf announced more big-name additions to the roster, including several top 50 world-ranked players and 3 more major championship winners, Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, and Patrick Reed. At that event, LIV Golf announced that Paul Casey would also be joining the roster and playing in the next event to be held in Bedminster. Before the 4th event held in Boston in August 2022, 6 more players joined, including the Open champion and the #2 ranked player Cameron Smith, and the #19 ranked Chilean golfer Joaquin Niemann. Greg Norman clearly had his sights set on the biggest names and faces in golf. In the Washington Post on June 5, 2022, Norman said Tiger Woods had declined to join. Norman said the deal was mind-blowingly enormous. We're talking about high 9 digits. Wow! According to sources, Dustin Johnson was paid $150 million to tee off for LIV. Johnson won 2 major championships and is a former #1 ranked player, who's won 24 PGA Tour events since 2008, yet only made $74 million over that period. What a shame. That means LIV Golf immediately doubled Johnson's income. After announcing his resignation from the PGA Tour, Dustin said, "I chose what's best for me and my family." You can't argue with that, and I'm sure his wife, Paulina Gretzky, supports him 100%. The first PGA Tour member to resign was Kevin Na. Kevin put in his resignation 3 days before Dustin Johnson and said, "If I exercise my right to choose where and when I play golf, I cannot remain a PGA Tour player without facing disciplinary proceedings and legal action from the PGA Tour. I hope the current policies change, and I'll be able to play on the PGA Tour again." LIV Golf is a real force to be reckoned with, and it's only continuing to grow. As of February 2023, 75 high-profile professional golfers have either signed a contract or have teed off in at least one LIV Golf event. Even Phil Mickelson, one of the greatest PGA golfers of all time, couldn't resist the allure of LIV and all the perks. But it's not all just birdies and fairways. There are many real political forces at play. Human rights groups have been screaming from the rooftops, claiming LIV Golf is sports washing. You may not be familiar with that term. I certainly wasn't. Apparently, sports washing is a political strategy used by Saudi Arabia to cleanse its global image. Human Rights Watch say the Saudis are using LIV Golf to distract from its serious human rights abuses by taking over events that celebrate human achievement. Greg Norman, the shark himself, has been accused of helping the Saudi government make himself a lot of money. Norman denies any wrongdoing and dismisses any participation in the so-called sports washing. and explains that he works for LIV because of his passion for golf. It's hard to prove otherwise since his entire life has been dedicated to the sport. And on June 22, 2022, a grassroots movement joined the party, when nearly 2,500 survivors of family members killed or injured on September 11, 2001, wrote a letter to the golfers who've remained loyal to the PGA and thanked them for not defecting to LIV Golf. The letter included the passage, "Thank you for standing up for decency. Thank you for standing up for the 9/11 families. Thank you for resisting the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's efforts to cleanse its reputation by buying off professional athletes." Then, less than a month later, the controversy made it all the way to the top of the political ladder, when on July 17th, members of the same group took issue with Donald Trump. They called out the former U.S. president in a letter, expressing their anger at him for hosting a LIV golf event at his National Golf Club in Bedminster, New Jersey. The letter pointed out that during a 2016 interview on Fox News, Trump himself had blamed Saudi Arabia for the 9/11 attacks. Days before the letter was sent to Donald Trump, Tiger Woods, who turned down between $700 and $800 million to join LIV Golf, was asked what he thought of the golfers who did take the money and run, and said, "I disagree with it. I think that what they've done is they've turned their back on what has allowed them to get to this position." Fast forward to February of 2023, and Tiger's words seem like a prophecy. The DP World Tour, which is the legal name for the PGA European Tour, attempted to suspend and fine golfers who had chosen to play with LIV Golf. Golfers claimed they were unable to attend DP World Tour events due to scheduling conflicts with LIV events, and things only escalated very quickly from there. Now, it's official. It's been announced that the DP World Tour has won its arbitration case against LIV golf players. The players challenged the decision to suspend and fine them for joining LIV and lost. The arbitration specifically centered on whether players who had not been granted a release by the European Tour could use the European Tour's conflicting event release regulations and not be subject to the fines that were levied on them. The answer is, they're gonna have to pay up. Ian Poulter, Adrian Otaegui, and Justin Harding all appealed the ruling, and the punishments were put on hold pending the outcome of their appeal, which has allowed LIV players to continue competing on the DP World Tour penalty-free. The appeal panel is treating this very seriously, commenting that the named players have committed serious breaches of the code of behavior laid out by the DP World Tour's regulations by continuing to play in LIV events, despite their release requests having been turned down. The decision could have further implications for three golfers in particular. Lee Westwood, Ian Poulter, and Sergio Garcia may also face bans from teeing off in the Ryder Cup. Ian Poulter and two other players initially challenged the European Tour's regulations and requested a conflicting event release to play in a LIV event in London in 2022, but they were denied and fined 100,000 British pounds. There are now 13 golfers who joined LIV Golf and are challenging the European Tour's regulations. Henrik Stenson, who lost the Ryder Cup captaincy after joining the LIV Tour, said, "There are multiple tours in the world. As long as you fulfill your criteria and earn your right to be there, you should be able to play in as many tournaments as you like. That's certainly not how the PGA sees it, Henrik." As of now, LIV Golf's declined to comment until all the smoke is cleared. So, from harsh lifetime bans to exciting new opportunities, LIV Golf's been dealt a devastating legal blow, and that's what we know.